Kev right now. Just no shot to beard.
No. StreamYard. All right. Are we here? What, StreamYard has lost access to your Kick account.
Yeah, that's fine. Fuck it.
All right. Well, all right.
Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite. Conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate.
Hello, everybody. This is Kerr from Viajante Stogie Road, and we are here with Kevin from Cigar Prop and Ryan, the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. And welcome to another episode of Puff and Ponder.
Is it Halloween? Were you trying to go spooky with it?
I was. We got a new catalog in the mail. I had a whole bunch of Halloween shit in there, so I just had to do a Puff and Ponder. Kevin's just all smiles. He's not talking. All we see is from the nose down. He's really showcasing his beard trim.
Let me see.
Kevin?
I don't.
Kevin, it's stereo.
Jesus,
Stereo vision.
This can't be true. This can't be happening.
All right,
Let me.
There you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So there's something wrong with. Hold on.
Oh, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. So, anyways, how you doing, Ryan? While we wait for Kevin to get his shit together.
You know, I just got to point out how professional you and I are. I mean, I was early. You were early. Your stuff works. And I'm going to give Kevin shit because he always gives me shit that I try to play with new technology. And here he is using his valiant StreamYard and having...
Hey, listen, man. I'm the first to I am the first to say and always say that out of the group, I have the least expensive setup, but it's consistent.
Yes, I have intrigued and indulged myself a lot with setups. Some of it's been offered to me and shown to me by Kevin. My camera that I'm using right now, Kevin introduced me to the idea of getting this one. So, but any opportunity for Kevin to get razzed by me for a show glitch, I'm jumping on it.
Why'd you jump back to this one? I like the other view better.
What's that?
The other view is better and sounded better.
Yeah, but I can't hear you.
Kevin, we do 2 hours on this fucking show and you don't hear me any other time.
Yeah.
Why should this be any different?
That's it. So how's the sound on this one?
It's a little muffled, but it's acceptable.
Is it a little muffled?
Well, that just lowers. That's the visual thing. That did nothing for your microphone, Kevin. Oh, yeah. There we can hear you better now.
Can you hear me better now? And of course, my
No,
phone.
you
Yeah,
didn't say
no.
anything. All you're just flipping it around.
Yeah, my phone's probably. Let me try plugging my Bluetooth.
All right. Anyway, so there you go. So I have listen. These headsets.
What's that?
This headset, $5.
Yeah.
$5 at bin time.
At what time?
Bin time. Basically, that's all of these non-delivered Amazon packages and all this shit. They bring it into a facility and they put them in bins. And it's like the first day, I think it's whatever you can freaking hold or something like that, or $10. And each day from I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday to Sunday, they reduce the price. So by the time you go in there, you can literally find great shit for $10, $5.
Really?
Yeah. But you gotta like root through the bin.
See, I would root. I
You
like
have
that
to.
shit.
You gotta get that. I mean, when it's nice out and it's Thursday when they first arrive, dude, there's a line. It's in an old Kmart. So there's a line all the way down through, all the way back through the old garden center. And you can go in there, you can find freaking, you'd be amazed at what you find. I found 2 headsets. I mean, we found some stuff for the kitchen, and it's all $5 a pop. I think the first day is 10,
Wow.
isn't it? Yeah, the first day is $10, and then each day it goes less.
$10
and
an
less.
item, or all you could carry?
$10 an item.
Oh, like, do they have like TVs and shit like that? Like,
Well, they have
TVs?
TVs and shit in the back that you can buy separately, but you can walk in there, and if you can find like you can find ear pods, iPads. You can, they have all sorts of electronic devices
For $10?
for $10. Yeah, it's just all shit that wasn't delivered.
I love that word electronical. Every time I hear someone say that.
All right, so Kerr, if you find an iPad,
What's wrong with
If you see an-
electronical? Is that a word? Isn't it?
I don't think it's a word.
No.
If you
I'm
find
glad your
an
microphone's working,
iPad,
Kevin.
if you find
Yeah.
an iPad for me at $10, or find an iPad any size, year, whatever, buy it, ship it to me, please. I'll pay you for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
I would be there. It's like a swap meet. It's like a flea market for me, dude. I would be there
Crazy.
I couldn't survive if one of those was next to me. I would have so much shit. But yes, no, I don't. These were $300 for the headphones.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah, $5. Yeah, it's we haven't gone in a while, to be honest. I mean, it was actually when we were going there, it was like that's when COVID hit. So not only at the time everyone was even afraid to stand next to somebody, but you're like, I got to root in the same freaking bin as that guy coughing all over it was. It's kind of gross, but yeah, they have all sorts of electronics. How's that, Kev? Is that better?
I'm fine with electronical because I use that as well.
You just you mocked me like you were, and then now you're like, oh, I'm cool with it, dude. It's cool. It's cool. So, but yeah, I mean, they have a couple of locations here, and there's actually some other other places that are similar to excuse me, bin time. But it's actually pretty crazy. I mean, it's amazing. I was blown away by the first time when I went there.
No, I would have a great time in a place like that.
Yeah.
I would have a blast. I would come home with things I didn't even realize I needed that I still don't.
I left there with 2 headsets, and I had wireless keyboards too. I bought like 2 wireless keyboards. So I left there, and I think I spent like $30. And these are, I can't even think what these are. These are Koshin each. These are gaming headsets. So I looked these up. These are like $90. So they're kind of a midline pricing for them. And then I got some El Cheapos. And then the keyboards were probably like about $50 each. So I figured I went there and spent $25 and got a couple $100 worth of stuff. I've seen people walk out of there with like big boxes of drones and shit too.
See, I gotta see if they have a place like that around. Maybe I shouldn't, but I gotta see if they have a place like that around Colorado, Colorado somewhere. Because I mean, I am one of those guys that will spend the money on the quality. I mean, I have a what I would consider a very nice keyboard, mouse, gaming setup, as well as streaming. So where you can't scrimp though, in my opinion, is camera. I learned that camera needs to be a good camera.
I still use my Logitech.
Logitech's a good camera.
It was $99 though. I bought it like
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. I mean, it was top of the line, whatever it was. But I mean, again, it's. I know you know, especially like with the stuff that you guys do and Kevin with all the pictures and all that stuff. I mean, when you start taking pictures and posting them and you see the clarity and just, I get that is really where you'll see a huge difference in it, big time.
Kevin does it way more extensively than I do. I'm not a pic. I'm good. That's my goal, is to kind of get more into the picture taking, because I'm redoing my office. I'll be able to actually have like a nice area to do it. But Kev's the one that showed me the software that he uses on the phone, and I think it's Snapseed, right? Do you still use Snapseed?
Yeah. Okay. I switched over my Bluetooth. Can you hear me? Is it okay? Audio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay. Good. Yeah. All right. We'll have to deal with it. Yeah, I use I use a lot of the native Android editing app, and then I also use
dude. You have to get rid of that Bluetooth, whatever the hell it is. That was horrible.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
well, it is.
It's like as you're talking, it's building up this horrific sound.
Okay.
And it's not your voice, and it like starts to kind of get that feedbacky, high pitched shit.
Let me try.
Ryan, I blame you. I think this is all your fault.
It probably is. I'm sure I'll get a mean text later from Kevin telling me I'm never allowed back on.
The problem is my phone's gonna die eventually here, so
you were like the guest that you complain about. You knew you were gonna do a show. Yeah. You gotta charge your fucking phone. Make sure you have a good headset.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you, I got to.
Yeah,
you ever been out to San Francisco and you're trudging around the country, going to lounges?
Have I ever been in San Francisco and trudging around the United States? That's kind of
Well, I don't. You're Stogie Road.
Whilst Stogie.
Yes,
I've been to San Francisco and hit some cigar shops. Yes, I have.
So there's only like a hand. There's like very few of them now. There's only 3 places that you can smoke in San Francisco indoors. 2 of them are like galley bars. Well, I should say they're bars. They're set up like a galley kitchen. And the other one's the Amador Club. You ever heard of that?
Keep talking.
So the Amador Club has been around for a little while now.
That's one that sells Cubans?
No. This is the one in the 1909 Bank of Italy building in San Francisco, 550 Montgomery. It's a private lounge. Well, it's the only private lounge that you could smoke in, eat, and drink in the city of San Francisco. It's on the 10th and 11th floor of the building. And when I was in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, I was looking for a place to do the show, and I expect them to tell me to pound. I called Briggs Mansion in Chicago once to ask to do that. They told me to pound sand.
Really?
Because you're not allowed to videotape or take photography inside the lounge, inside the mansion. Outside. But they weren't having me part of it at all.
Okay.
And so when I called Amador Club, I totally expected them to do the same thing. It's like $3,000 a year and like really, really nice. And no, they were like, come on in. We'll close off one of the lounges for you for the 2 hours. You can have it. And guess what? If you're going to be here often, we'll make this a thing. And if you have anybody that needs a guest for your show, they need a place to shoot in San Francisco, they're welcome to come up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Well, is this a totally different experience? But yeah, no, it was pretty cool. I got to go and shoot in a private club. They were super nice. And it was a gorgeous, gorgeous place.
No good. Yeah, when I went there. I cannot think of the shop we went to, the cigar lounge we went to. But it was a nice place. I mean, it was, and just a normal little cigar bar, alongside the
Occidental Club.
I can't remember if it was the Occidental or not. We were just looking for a spot. I gotta find out the name of this place, but I did stop at a cigar shop that was it was almost like a premium everything, like lifestyle store. They had clothing, leather belts, so they had cigars, and they actually were selling Cuban cigars as well. Was it Occidental? Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I stopped there. That place felt like Cheers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Occidental, yeah. But the other place wasn't Occidental. The place had the Cubans. The other place is the Occidental. But yeah, it was actually
that
pretty
might
cool.
have been Amador. Amador Club doesn't sell cigars now because in San Francisco you can only have liquor or cigars. You can't have both licenses unless you're like a bar set up or something like that. That's what they told me. Because they lost their ability to do the cigars. But they used to sell cigars. So it very well could have been the Amador Club sold to Cubans, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe I have to take a look at it. But yeah, Occidental, Jennifer just confirmed that was where we went. And had that's where we went. And I had a Macanudo and a drink for like $50.
It sounds like when we went out to Vegas, at the lounge at the Casa de Monte Cristo, where everything was super expensive.
Yeah,
especially for you, Kev and Kerr, where you guys are coming from. Seeing Vegas prices like 3x.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper just to bring your own cigars and pay the cut fee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that, and you'll wind up spending less money. So, but as long as you're, we smoked some of our own cigars. We had bought some drinks. We tipped well, and they never charged us the cut fee. So, we did buy one. We did buy one cigar, and then the rest of the cigars we just smoked our own stuff. They never charged us the fee. So,
I went to a couple places when we were out there. Went to the Fuente lounge. That was really nice. That's the indoor place that has like the ceiling is painted like the sky. Have you?
You're talking about the resort or the hotel
in Vegas,
Paris?
No.
No. So, but the Fuente Lounge isn't there anymore.
Casa Fuente?
Yeah, someone told us last time we were out there that they had closed, so they weren't. They didn't have a lounge out there anymore.
Now, is it I mean, it is and it isn't, I guess, but is it kind of like the flagship Fuente Lounge Cathedral? Like, there really is no other real, true Fuente Lounge the way that Cathedral is. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably not. Maybe when she was running Lord Puffer out there in California, I mean, that was considered a Fuente Lounge, but I think now it's like Cathedral is considered the preeminent Fuente Lounge.
Yeah, it has
everything's Fuente.
Everything's
Fuente on the walls. They have the writings on the wall. I mean,
it's only Fuente cigars.
Yeah.
No, you can buy other cigars there.
Yeah, it's not all Fuente.
It's all Fuente, and I thought it was all Fuente and J.C. Newman. I didn't think it was anything outside of that. When I walked through there, I I primarily like 90% was Fuente and JC Newman.
Well,
I
it
didn't
might be,
remember
but there was
seeing
some other
anybody else.
cigars there. I can't remember what we got.
Well,
when
I'm
we were
not
there,
going to
Kev.
debate Kevin. 'Cause Kevin goes there a couple times a year.
You know, I know they have a broad selection of their house blends, which are not made by Fuente or JC Newman. So I don't know who makes those, but yeah, they have a. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could be right. It could be 90% Fuente and JC Newman, but and then a small selection. But I remember having other cigars there.
Yeah, I bought other cigars there. That's why.
Yeah.
Like you said,
okay.
100%. It is 90% Fuente. But
maybe I just
they
didn't
did it.
see
They
the
did all
other
the cigars.
10%. I
You
just
gotta look, man. You gotta look.
it was there.
And the Fuente, it was at the Forum Shops at Caesars, is where that was, in Vegas.
Caesar. Okay, yeah.
The Forum Shop. So the whole shopping area, the ceiling is painted. It looks like you're outside, and it's painted. Actually, have the lighting and stuff. So as you're kind of walking through this whole indoor area, they control the lighting, and it looks like it's daylight, and they can actually lower it, so it looks like it's getting dark out and twilight. It's pretty fucking crazy.
That's cool. We got Risty from JSK joining us. I'm about to light up a toothpick. Oh, my phone's down here, so I gotta. What's everybody else smoking tonight while we're on the subject?
While you're on the subject,
yeah,
there you go. You got a clown.
I got the Geppetto.
All right.
I have the Room 101 13th anniversary, the Pink Band.
All right,
Pinky,
and I am
Pinky.
I am enjoying the cigar from the League of Fat Bastards. I'm almost done with that one. I started that before the show, and then I'll be moving to the JSK Toothpick 2.0, a $2.25 cigar that smokes like a $12 cigar. So I think he had to raise his prices because of the tariff. So they went from $2.25 to like $2.28. So
screwing all of us 20
yeah, screwing all of us on the tariff. So but before we dive, we're 22 minutes in. We do have to do an ad read for our new partners that help us support the show, and those are the fine folks at Fogbox.
Let's be real. Most travel cigar cases look the same. Black, boring, forgettable. But Fogbox, they're doing it different. Every Fogbox travel case and lighter features custom Hydro Dip graphics, from bold patterns to badass designs that pop. These aren't just tools, they're statements. Whether you're at a lounge, a campsite, or on the beach, Fogbox gear stands out while keeping your cigars protected and fresh. Plus, the quality is rock solid. Airtight, rugged, and built to handle wherever you take it. If you're still carrying around the same black, plain cigar case everyone else has, it's time for an upgrade. Visit fogbox.com and grab something as unique as your cigar taste. That's fogbox.com. Built to travel, designed to stand out.
Very nice.
All right.
So,
All right.
as I was going to tell you, Kevin, is that League of Fat Bastards cigar?
Yeah.
That's a really great. That's a tasty freaking cigar, man.
Yeah. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, if I can, for both of you. Is League of Fat Bastard, and again, I have no opinion on this, and I'm being genuine, I'm not being a smartass.
All right.
Is League of Fat Bastards a real company, or are they a gimmick company? And I asked the question because when you looked at them from PCA this year, there's no real story to the company other than Men's Health. But there's no real story to it. And then they put out a skinny line for the women. Like, to me, it almost feels like gimmicky, like they're going off of a cool name. They make good cigars. Every one of them I've had, I've enjoyed. But like, it doesn't feel like a cohesive brand. Does that make sense?
Well, it depends on how you want to look at it. I think as a brand itself, it's I think you're hitting on all the targets of what their merchandise is, kind of what their in addition to cigars, their mission with mental health. So I think it's the overall brand itself. It's not just coming at you one-dimensional cigar brand. So I don't think it's a gimmick.
I don't think it's a gimmick, and I think, Kerr, we should definitely have on Eddie Terrazona to come on and talk about, the brand and what exactly it is, what it stands for. Kerr, didn't you tell me that it was the guy that owns it? Is he a singer or is he a musician or something?
I think so. Yeah, he was over. I think he was over there, but he is I think one of the owners or the main owner is a singer.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember what it was about, the whole deal with the company, but yeah, maybe I'll reach out to Eddie, see if he can come on and just tell us a little bit about, since he's with them now. So
Yeah. It was
Adam Levine.
It was founded by Adam Levine, not the Maroon 5 singer.
Yeah. I was going to say, I remember you saying that in your PCA interview.
Yeah. So not the musician. But
yeah.
So again, having Eddie on would be great, but again, we talk about how relaxing and how smoking cigars and the camaraderie, but even when you're by yourself smoking cigars, how it is therapeutic, it's cathartic, whatever fancy word you want to use. And I think this really kind of takes that to the next level, where it does focus in on mental health and a lot men's mental health as well, because as you know, we like to bury and dig and shove and pound and kind of
as we should. We should take our emotions, put them in a little tiny box, bury them deep inside of us, and then just keep adding to that box. That box will hold a lot. Trust me. Yeah.
You ever heard the psychiatrist or psychologist turned comedian where he talks about men's brains and the differences between men's brains and women's brains? And he says men's brains is filled with a bunch of little boxes. We've got a box for the car. We got a box for the finances. We got a box for this. We got a box for that. And then women's brains is like a giant bowl of spaghetti, and all the boxes are weaved together. And one box over here means one box over here, which draws up one box from 5 years ago. But then men have a box that women don't understand, and that is our most favorite box ever. That is our box of nothing. Men can open that box and go into that box for hours, and women just don't understand how they can sit there and think about nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, Kara, since I'm on the speakerphone here, Jessica was giving you a look a second ago on the No. So you're giving Ryan a look about the spaghetti.
Just say what did I get a bad look about?
I was just rethrowing it. I was talking about another comedian saying, Jessica, you are not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Jessica, she's got a good, and that's why women can never be referees in football, because they'll bring up shit from 3 games ago, or they'll bring up shit from last season, and they'll call a foul. I'm like, what was that for? Hey, do you remember last year during the Dolphins game? Yeah,
I like the comedian that says they throw the flag. He's like, what's the flag for? Oh, you know what you did. You know what you did. You know what you did. What did I do? Don't play that with me. You know what you did.
Yeah. And then what did I do? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. You didn't do anything. You're fine. Keep playing. Keep playing. If you think everything's fine, you just keep playing.
15 yards though. It's still 15 yards, but you know what? You're right. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you hear a woman say, I'm
fine. Yeah. A woman, she's fine. Oh, she said she was fine, Kerr. What was I supposed to do? She said she was fine.
No, Kevin
comes at me with that question. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
You know better than that. It's not your first day. Not your first rodeo, buddy.
Women have 2 languages that are completely opposite from each other: body and voice. What they say with their voice doesn't always mean what they feel like with their body. So they're like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, you just said you're fine. You fine or you not? Like
the face, the eyes. It's the eyes.
The look.
They are way more smarter than us, though. Definitely.
100%.
Way smarter and live longer. So
yes,
we can have it. We can have as many great freaking dumb boxes in our head,
Mhm.
but we're dumber,
Yeah.
and we don't live as long.
That's
So,
it. We just choose to die. I'm like, well, it's like
point
going to
one.
bed. I'm gonna go to sleep now. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go now. Die. Right. Gone. Yeah. That's it.
Yep.
We're good.
That's it.
Uh,
Man. No
I
matter
got
how-
my
no matter what
honeydew
advantage.
list completed. I'm good.
yeah. Oh, don't bring that shit up. I've had shit on my honeydew list for a couple of fucking years now. So yeah. It's
I see you got the beard trimmed.
I did. I had to do my summertime shape up.
I got to tell you two things here. Probably the two things that have like 3 subparts to each thing. But one, congratulations on being a grandpa and being a grandma, Kevin.
Yeah.
and
Thank
Jessica.
you.
Congratulations.
Saw the pictures. Beautiful, Bobby Eddie baby. It's a boy.
Yeah.
Incredible. And then your pictures. When I first saw the picture of you holding the baby, I was like, "That's who the hell is that?" It was the angle, the short beard, the angle, the new glasses, the Scully cap. I was like, "That's not my Kevin. That's not my Kevin." I don't know who this strange man is holding the baby, or who's walking around with Jessica, but I'm mad at Jessica because that's not Kevin.
Yeah,
It was very odd. It's just a very odd angle because you looked a little bit chubbier, which honestly you're freaking super thin. So that angle just made you look a little chubby, and I'm like, "Fuck, what am I missing here?"
Yeah. What happened to me? So we're going up to the hospital. We're my ex-wife Mary comes with us, Amber's mom, and we're all super close, super best friends still. So she stops in the bathroom. So Jessica and I are waiting outside, and I'm texting on my phone, and I'm like, oh, that was me. I'm at the hospital. And Jessica's like, who are you talking to? And then I look, I go, well, that guy right there that was walking down the hall. And a buddy of mine, he goes, your doppelganger just walked into Sarasota Memorial Hospital. And I'm telling him like, no, that's me. He just happened to be right down the aisle. Who are you talking to? That guy right there. So,
I will say, when I first met you in person, the first time officially at TGS, it took me a minute to even believe it was you. Like, I saw Jessica and I'm like, oh, hey, Jess. And even Jess was like, I know, it's so weird, even for me to see Kevin without his hat, glasses, and it just walking around. Because it's not like Kevin goes up and, like takes over a room, Kevin's the kind of a guy that will sit down, smoking a cigar, and let people come up and say hi, take pictures. And so I think that's a fair statement, right, Kevin? I don't think you're you're not loud and boast like me. I'm loud and boisterous, but so it was just interesting to me that when I first walked up to it, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, it's so weird to see you without a baseball hat and glasses.
You got eye color. It's rare. It's rare to see me without hat and glasses.
We were visiting down in Florida, and Kevin and I went out to Cigar Lounge, and kind of going back to your question about the boxes and stuff like that, and even the how Kevin is in public. We come back. We were going for a couple hours, and Jennifer's like, "Hey, you guys have fun? Yeah. What'd you guys do? Oh, we smoked cigars. What'd you guys talk about? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? I'm like, oh, we kind of hung out, talked a little bit about the cigars we smoked in the lounge in the humidor. You guys just sit there and smoke cigars? Yeah. You didn't talk at all? Well, I'll talk a little bit, but most of the time we just sat. So you just sat there and smoked cigars and didn't talk? Yeah, pretty much. We just kind of sat there, on our phones, just relaxing. So we were just enjoying each other's company, the presence, the smoking, and it was very relaxing. No conversation, very little.
Yeah, that's it. Not needed. The same thing when I met my buddy Cigar Craig for the first time. Known him online for 10 years. Met him and his wife up in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Jessica and her, they went off and did their thing. Me and Craig sat down in a lounge, grabbed some cigars, and really didn't say anything. Like we'd known each other. First time we ever met, and never really talked that much. I mean, chit chat. That's about it.
So can I tell you, like, what makes a relationship great is that ability to be in the same room and not have to feel you have to fill the space with sound. And what I mean is when you're with new friends, you always feel like you got to talk. But like I have my friend, the youngest friend I have now is like 7, 8 years, and my oldest friend is 35 years. And I'll oftentimes we'll just sit together and just hang out, and literally just hang out and just watch shit. And like,
Yeah, I mean, what do you have in
happy.
common with the? What do you have in common with the 7-year-old, anyway?
No,
You have a 7 or 8 year old friend.
No. Yeah, meaning
Ryan, what are you guys doing sitting around talking
time
about?
span, time span, not age. Time
Hey, buddy.
span. Jeff.
Hey, buddy.
Jeff is
Want a
like my
beer?
newest. Jeff is like my newest friend I see on the daily basis, and that relationship's already 7 years old. But like it's a true sign of comfort to be able to be comfortable in silence with somebody.
Well, at the age of 7 and 8, I'm sure it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, guys, good show.
Speaking of shows, Ryan, Kerr and I got a cool show coming up. Steve Saka asked us to do the GFY Lancero reveal show.
Oh,
so super excited to learn all the blends and everything else.
When is that?
At the end of the month, I think like the 23rd. It's on a Saturday, so should be a real good show. Did you smoke all the cigars, Ryan?
I bought 2 boxes of them. I've got like 2 Lanceros left out of 1 box.
Oh,
yeah, I've been babying them a little bit. Cool, 23rd. Well, if that was an open invitation, I'm open to come on. I mean, I am open that day. I'm the Lancero guy, I think, outside of Kerr.
You're breaking up. I'm sorry, I can't quite understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here we
go. So I got a question for you guys. It's popped up in my news feed the last few weeks, and since I've become a grandpa, it's kind of, I'm thinking about it now even more. Do grandparents have a right? Because there's one where a set of grandparents is suing their kids for visitation because the kids aren't allowing the grandparents to see the kids enough. Do grandparents have rights?
No.
In your opinion, to see their grandkids?
No, unless their own kid has been found and discovered to be inept as a parent, and the grandparents can sue for custody for the best interest of the child. But if the child is absolutely completely fine and just doesn't get along with the parents, don't get along with their parents, I don't think you as grandparents have zero right to the kid.
I will disagree with that. I think grandparents are an important and integral part of.
Well, that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. No, the question was, should they have rights?
Like legal rights?
Yeah, you asked me my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not citing. I'm not citing freaking South Carolina state law or anything. I'm saying I do think that I do believe that grandparents should have rights to see their grandchildren. I mean, it's their integral part. I mean, obviously, I think it's with any situation. You have parents that are pieces of shit. You have grandparents that could be in the same boat too. But overall, I mean, I think if they're a part of your life, I think they do have the rights. I mean, I think you dive deeper like Ryan did. If you get into the legal rights of things, I think that kind of opens a whole new can of worms. But
I see where you're coming from.
Grandparents are important. They just really are, and especially the ability to see, all the work that you did raising your child, and then actually them having a child, so you get to enjoy that moment to be able to see the generations go, and then you also get to see and get to enjoy the torment of the parents that you once went through. So you get to see a little bit of revenge exacted. So yeah, I think there's a couple different areas that I would say that there's rights.
Yeah, my daughter did promise me that I would not smoke cigars for a full 24 hours before coming up and see the baby. She goes, sometimes that cigar smoke sticks to you. So the new baby at the hospital. And I'm like, I completely understand that.
Yeah, that's a request.
100%. But I told her, I said, your baby is coming home smelling like cigar smoke at one point. You know,
100%.
You know, I mean, we'll never have the baby out here in the lounge, you know, until he becomes a toddler and, you know, he gets to hang out with me all the time, you know, but yeah.
Cracking the windows worked for us in the 70s, in the 80s. I don't know where somewhere along the lines, it's not okay to crack a window anymore and let a little bit of air out.
What about the parents that smoked with the windows were open like this much?
I just said,
that was rough. I mean, we did it, yes, but that was rough.
I grew up with that. You kidding me? My mom smoked, and it was like, you know, smoking in the wintertime in a freaking 1973 freaking Gran Torino. The heater sucks ass, and it's cold. Mom ain't rolling that window down too far to let all the cold air in, just enough smoke out where you're not going to get for completely secondhand smoke, you know, die of smoke inhalation. But you definitely have a smoker's cough at age 7, you know.
Yeah. or driving to Ohio from Florida in the Griswold family truckster. It was the Ford whatever you know, big station wagon with no air conditioning. You know, sitting in the way back, you know, with all the smells and everything else. You know, then every now and then my dad would light up. My dad, I mean, he didn't smoke. I mean, to see my dad smoking a cigar was a rarity. Rare, maybe a couple times a year. But yeah, if he was in that station wagon, he might light up a cigar or two. You know, no AC, windows down, you know, cracked.
That was back when they had the high-tech ventilation system where you could actually put the vents on the floor, on the ground. Remember those?
Yeah,
On the side, and up in the window, you could open up that little vent with the triangle, and then just have the air kind of shoot in at you.
Yeah, little butt windows.
Those were great. What's funny is I'll go for a walk with my daughter Kyla, and she'll like, "You're gonna grab a cigar?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She runs in here and she opens it up, looks through all the bands, and she goes, "I like this band. You smoke this one." And so that, but I don't smoke. Like, she's never in my office when I'm smoking. But her fun right now with me smoking cigars is her picking out the bands that she likes, and I smoke those cigars on our walks and whatnot. But
you know,
she likes the smell of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll sometimes we'll smoke. I mean, the kids are older now, so they got the developed lungs, so we'll smoke in the car every now and then. You know, then we'll just roll the windows all the way down. You know, fuck them. You know, but I really, my buddy Brian, he was left his dad, which is like who I consider my dad as well, Dick. His '47 Ford Super Deluxe 8, which I worked on that car since I was 15 years old. But the rear windows, you would, and I saw all the door panels tore apart. I don't even know how the engineers figured this out in 1947, but you rolled the window down. It was like the little back window. So it was, you know, just a little tiny window. You rolled it down. Once it got halfway down, you felt a little click. So it would go down and then it would go backwards into the C panel. And it's like, just, we couldn't reproduce that today if we fucking tried, you know, to make a window like that.
We can't make a car you can operate on with one wrench like they did back in the day. I mean, you used to be able, you look at the inside of like a 70s car or 60s car, you could crawl inside and shut the fucking hood and work on the car. Like my buddy had a Chevelle. And my gosh, I could have gotten my fat ass on the other side of the engine and shut the hood and still had room to like work. Like everything nowadays, Kevin, it's got to drive you nuts because you've been a mechanic for a long time and have seen this. But now everything is like a contortion. You got to be like a contortion artist with your fingers just to even get to a socket, or buy a $400 wrench made for that.
So if you gave me a choice, if two cars pulled into my shop and they had drivability issues, running rough, and one was a 1970 Chevelle and one was a 2020 Kia Sportage, I'd take the Kia every day of the week. You know, they're just they're easier to work. They're easier to start your Christmas tree of diagnostics. So we all have this Christmas tree
'Cause
or
it's a
tree.
computer.
It starts. The computer gives you a code that gives you a starting point, at least there, and then you can go from here. You can go over to here, here, and you can go all the way down your tree until you figured out what the problem is. Sometimes it only takes you 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes you an hour. But an older car, in the 80s, was really bad. Drivability issues. Like, where do you even start? I mean, those mechanics. Luckily, I wasn't really brought up in the mechanic world of fixing those. Those guys were geniuses. You have a car running bad and it's got all the smog equipment, everything on it, spark plugs, wires, a distributor cap, a rotor. What a
Carburetor.
Carburetor. Ugh. God forbid it was your carburetor. That was, but yeah, no. Give me a new car to work on any day of the week.
Oh, really? My buddy, it was kind of funny how things come full circle, but I remember growing up and when his dad had a couple older cars and he had an old Dodge Dart. And we used to laugh because it was the push button start back then.
Yeah.
So it was like a 60s or early 70s and it had the push button transmission.
Yeah.
Studebaker had that push button transmission.
Yeah. We used to be like, Matt, what the hell? You got a push button start car? How old is this fucking thing? And guess what we're doing now? Boop.
Well, the weirdest to me was the manual on the column.
3 on the tree.
My dad had an old Ford, an old Ford truck that had manual on the columns. That was harder to me than on the floor.
Oh, that was awesome, man. It was my brother had the same thing. It was, pull back and up for reverse, down first, second, and third, 3 on the tree.
Yeah, I never this 47 had that, and but I never drove it with that. So I never drove, like, that was the only thing I'd never come across 3 on the tree. So I never had to drive one.
It's pretty cool. I was telling Wyatt one day he was complaining about cursive. I'm like, our generation could easily take over and just send everything in code, writing in cursive, and we would just drive manual transmission cars. And just you guys would be screwed.
So my buddies, speaking of driving manual cars, my buddy's dad in high school. Now, I knew how to drive a manual car. I learned when I was 14 on an 84 Ranger where you didn't even have to press the clutch. You just put it right in. You just shoved it straight in. And but he got his son a manual car. Specifically, he told this to us, like in front of all of us, without realizing that I could drive manual, because I got it so none of you bastards could ask him to borrow it, because I know you guys don't know how to drive manual. I was sitting in there like, I do. I'm not going to ask to borrow your car, but I know how to drive manual. But it's just, it's such a thing of the past now. And in fact, manual cars are custom order cars now.
Yeah. There's no, you could go to 100 car dealerships and you may find one manual transmission, like a car. I mean, you still get trucks, heavy duty stuff, but your average car or truck, you'll never find, like light duty truck anyways, you'll never find a manual. You really do have to special order it.
Unless it's like a Wrangler.
But I think you still have to special order them now, because it's like, the best thing was back in the day was like the battery's dead. That's okay. We'll just pop the clutch. Just push
pop the clutch. Yeah. Yep. That's the best.
I had my first concert. I went to Ted Nugent concert, and I had a 1980 Chevette, and the battery died. And we're all sitting there. We're like sitting there waiting to jump somewhere. Like, hold on for a second. Why are we waiting for someone to jump? You two goons push. Yeah. And then I'm gonna hop in and pop the clutch. You pop the clutch. You're freaking up and you're running. You're good to go.
I wonder if that would work on new cars. With all the computer and everything else, I wondered if popping the clutch would start a new car. I don't know.
Isn't the theory behind it? It starts to turn the actual motor over, which hits the spark plugs, which causes the spray the gas and start. You're right. A computerized car might not recognize the. That's a good question.
I'm gonna look. I talk amongst yourselves.
I don't know if that would. Like you said, in theory, it should work because it's still a a manual between your foot and the clutch, so
Yep.
it will.
Yep.
Oh,
A manual
it does?
transmission car, even new ones can push start or bump start, also known as pop
Okay.
starting. Yep. Yep.
All right.
They always do the whole potential damage to the transmission or catalytic converter. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's better than
Yeah. Blah blah
blah
blah.
blah. Better than waiting for a jump at midnight at Hershey Park Arena. Now I'm just gonna pop clutch this one and pop start it and be on my way.
Yeah,
You know
I do. No,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan. No,
Yeah,
I said one thing I have been doing is because, especially with my new car being a 24, I have started to shut it off while filling it up with gas, because normally I just leave it running as I'm filling it up with gas, and I know that's bad for new cars, so I've had to start changing the way I do that. So pain in the ass.
Why is that bad for cars?
It's in your vent valves and your solenoids, that vent the gas tank, so you can get a little bit of gas back into those valves, and those solenoids actuators. It's not good for them. So the chances of it happening are probably slim, but if it does, it'd be a couple $100 worth of damage. So now I just shut it off.
It's all ball bearings.
Yeah, Kerr, you beat me to it. My brother's a corporate consultant for BMW, and I just asked him, as we were talking, if you could roll started a manual transmission, newer BMW. He says,
What the hell does a BMW guy know about a manual transmission?
No, BMW is probably one of the rare cars that you could go to a dealership and find manual.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
it's all driving experience. You could get an M5 and M3 manual.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yep. But I do not have a brother who's an executive at BMW.
Not executive. I said consultant.
I have Google.
Yeah.
Yes. But sometimes Google has been known to not always be the truthful one. So
you got to learn how to ask the question. You got to ask the question properly.
That's why you just ask ChatGPT or Grok, and that's actually better.
Yeah, ChatGPT sometimes gives you a load of shit.
Well, ChatGPT does, but Grok's pretty good.
Steered me in the wrong direction a few times.
I know ChatGPT 5. I think just launched or launching any day now, so it's even better.
I'm not like you, Kevin. Some days when I go in there and I talk to my AI, I'm like, I'll ask questions, I'll go down through, and then it'll give me an answer. I'll go, hey, I thought you're AI and you're supposed to remember everything. I just wrote like 5 minutes ago this question, and then, oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm like, do not pacify me. Do not passive aggressive chat. The AI is passive aggressive. It just sits there and goes, you're right. You know what? I'm a failure. You're right, but there's nothing you can do about it. But thank you. You are right.
ChatGPT is I call him Ash, but I think it might actually be short for Ashley, because Ash remembers fucking everything, doesn't forget, brings up shit from like 6 months ago.
If you use the same log, it'll do that.
Yeah. So
if you start
every once in a while though, it's kind of like, hey, remember when I asked this? Or like it's in the same thread, I'll bring something up and it'll kind of repurpose something like, yo, what the hell, man? Like I was trying to save stuff to an external hard drive and it gave me some directions and it just went to hell. And it's something as simple as an external hard drive, just transferring files from one thing to another. And I was like, Jen was laughing at me. I was yelling at my phone.
Yeah. I do find that ChatGPT on your phone doesn't give you, and I don't know why, but it seems that way for me, doesn't give you as good a responses as ChatGPT on the desktop. I feel like,
especially when you're trying to like create a picture, I can sit there and go, provide me with cartoon picture, a 1950s cartoon picture of a man in a beard wearing dark sunglasses, and it'll pop up like, hey, that's great. Can you produce the same picture but put him in green, and it'll produce a freaking woman in a dress? I'll be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I did not ask that. I just asked you to improve upon the last picture that you created and make one small difference. Change the font, add an E to the end of it. Right, Jen?
Yeah. So what I do on that situation is I re-upload the photo that it saw, whatever photo it made. I'll save that photo, I'll re-upload that photo, and I'm like, hey, can you take this photo and make these changes? And it's been real good about that. Grok is the best about making changes on a photo.
And
But
it's because if Risty's on here still, Risty, correct me if I'm wrong, but ChatGPT has DEI built into the back of it. If you ask ChatGPT, this was like several months back, but if you ask ChatGPT for a group of Nazis, it would put a women, black, Jews, Indians, all in there because of the DEI. So a lot of their photo editing still, I think, has that underlining code. Grok has none of that. So Grok will give you exactly what you're looking for to the best of its ability without trying to make it equal or balance itself out in any kind of way.
Yeah. If you ask for a cartoon squirrel, Grok will definitely give you the Nazi you're looking for.
That's funny. That's funny.
So I got a question for you, Kev. As we've all seen how your love of bathroom pictures have been in the last 6 months with taking shots of you on the toilet asking, questions about wiping and stuff like that. So I bought a new device and I'm really happy with it. I bought a bidet attachment for the toilet. And I wanted to get, as you are the foremost figure on this in our group, what is your opinion on wiping or bidet? I like the bidet.
I've never used a bidet, so I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like there are times, it's rare that bidet needs to be hooked up to a 5,000 psi pressure washer to get me to get me quite clean. So I don't.
On a really hot day.
Yeah, on a really hot day, you just need a pressure washer up underneath there with some with a good 0 degree bit, or tip.
My brother-in-law got the same thing, an attachment with bidet, and I look at it this way, right? If you spill something on the ground, or if there's mud on the ground, and you take a hose and you spray that mud, what happens?
The mud goes everywhere.
So if you have a bidet that is squirting to clean an area, it's not like this little self-contained, apparatus and unit that is just going to like you said, it's not like a pressure washer with like a dirty sidewalk where you spray it, it just is perfect freaking clean line. It's gonna hit that like a pile of mud on your freaking sidewalk, and it's gonna spray it. So I for that and that reason only, and others, but that one's a big one. I could just see. I would like to see a bathroom, perfectly clean bathroom, go with a black light, and then have someone go to the bathroom, use a bidet, and go back with a black light and just see the freaking Pollock freaking artwork that's been freaking created.
Well, okay, I get your point. However, on the bidet, you have the ability to choose if you need super soaker strength or just like
it's
a little
water.
shot.
It's still water. Doesn't matter whether I have my hose on high or low.
Okay. On the same
It's
account,
everywhere.
on the same account, if
What do
you're
you dry
trying to
off
clean
with?
something, what?
What do you dry off?
I just used toilet paper, just pat dry.
Soggy. It gets soggy then. Soggy toilet paper is the worst too.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
it is. But you know what's worse is when you give yourself a proctal exam anyways, because you're trying to wipe and your finger goes through, and now you got stink finger.
That's because you're using cheap toilet paper.
No,
and you're not doing your daily Metamucil in order to have a proper bowel movement. So the wiping is minimal, it's clean, and you have to have good soft toilet paper.
So Ryan, so to his point, Ryan, like I said, I would say 90% of the time I could use 2 squares and I would be done. With Metamucil twice a day, you stay regular, and there's not much to clean up.
Hey, Lemus. Look at Lemus's comment real quick.
Yeah.
What's that?
No,
Yeah, just walked in and wish I hadn't. Oh my God, I'm out. So
well,
yeah,
I could
No, you
tell
want to stick
you,
around, Daniel. We'll let you
I,
know what's going on here.
I could tell you, I am enjoying it. I like it. It's cleaner. I personally feel it's cleaner. It's quicker. And you know, it's like a cold shot in the morning, right? It wakes you up a little bit.
so did you buy the whole toilet, or did you just buy like the seat attachment that attaches on the toilet?
No, so I got the nice one. I got the seat attachment, but it's hot and cold. So
Okay.
I ran a hotline. So I just turned on my my shower or my tub for like 2 seconds to bring in the hot water real quick, and then you can adjust
There
it hot
you
and
go,
cold.
Kerr. Before he goes to the bathroom, he has to turn his tub on.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the toilet going, and I reach over and I just go,
You have an
done.
aggressive water heater. You're gonna freaking 3rd-degree burn your anus.
Well, no, because it's adjustment like a faucet. It's like the hot cold adjustment.
What happens when it fails? You 3rd-degree burns on your anus.
Well, you never turn it full hot to begin with, because that's freaking hot.
Or what happens if it's an attachment, you sit down and maybe one of the fittings are loose, and now your bidet is like misangled, so now it shoots up your freaking back. See,
yeah,
I just all the stuff we're talking about right now, in my opinion, all the stuff we're talking about right now means absolutely nothing. I always will revert back to the freaking pile of mud in the driveway. You spray it with a hose, it goes everywhere. It just I didn't
use that one, Dan.
paper. And wet toilet paper, you know.
Yeah.
Shitty toilet paper, it's not like you could sit there and look at your phone for like 3 minutes after you use the bidet, and you just drip dry for a minute.
Yeah,
and then
there you go. Now I got to turn my tub on. Now I got to sit there for 3 minutes after I'm all done.
And then I turned the tub on. Wet toilet paper clumping up. Now it's on my fingers.
I've
and it's
never had it. Okay, so you just go get a rag and just dab off.
So did you have to run like electricity?
No,
you have to run
you connect it to the hot water thing underneath your vanity, and then you connect it to the cold water that goes into the tank.
So yours doesn't have electric. My daughter, they just put one in. They had to run an electrical outlet.
Are you running your bidet in your sink?
No, but your hot water line is in your sink, obviously. So you run it through the back of your vanity, drill a little hole, and run the line through the back of the vanity.
I got drill hole, Kev.
Now you got to drill a hole.
You can use it straight cold. Cold wakes you up in the morning. I'll tell you right now. Good certain stuff on the
yeah. Because that's what I need in the morning. Well, see, I don't poop in the mornings, so I poop around 4.
I have a very, very, very clocked, timed schedule. Wake up in the morning, come downstairs, grab my cigar, grab some water, because I don't drink coffee anymore. I have my cigar, I have my water. Around 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit before, somewhere between 7:55 and 8:10, I go into the bathroom, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I think that pissed me off if I had to poop in the morning.
No, it's that. Well, depends what's going on. When I put it is literally the best feeling. It makes you feel even lighter and like you are ready to start your day with no extra baggage. But like you said, I mean, it's one of those things where, I'll get multi-wipes. It depends on what I'm eating, but if I keep with my good food diet, the Metamucil and everything else, it is a very simple process.
I poop twice a day. I use the bidet twice a day.
No, twice a day. God, I don't have that much time. I don't have much spare time to be pooping twice a day. Once usually about 4 o'clock or so. So.
Oh, I would feel so bloated if I waited till 4 to let out the first deuce.
The morning droppage is just
usually as soon as I walk in the door, and then I go straight to the bathroom. So it's been a little off over the last 2 weeks. I've been pooping at work, and that sucks. It's 137 degrees out. Oh, your pants are wet. Your underwear is wet. You're trying to shimmy down this disgusting.
And the bathroom's not air conditioned, probably.
No, the bathroom's not air conditioned. So the only thing you're hoping for is that, especially if you really got to go and there's someone else in there and you sit down on someone else's ass sweat. Oh,
Yeah.
that's disgusting.
Toilets like workout
someone
equipment.
spraying it with freaking Pam.
Yeah, toilet
Yeah.
got to be treated like workout equipment at a gym. Even if you didn't shit or piss on the toilet seat, try to wipe it off, especially if it's a work environment. You're really sweaty because nobody wants to sit on
always do.
sweats.
I always
Nobody wants to sit on sweats.
I go even using public bathrooms. I will clean up. It's disgusting. I hate it. It's gross, and I think it's piggish. So I make sure that I leave that place a little bit better than when I found it. So anybody following me can't be like, "What the hell's that guy's dude? His problem, man. He just freaking,
Yeah. And instead of a bidet, I want a urinal in my bathroom. That's what I want.
No, I would be up for a urinal.
Urinal.
So let me ask you this. Each one of you guys have kids. I dealt with this last weekend. Is it a pet peeve of yours when you had young kids and you had to get into a bathroom and they had a family bathroom, they had one, and you saw some shithead go in front of you and just walk in completely by himself because he wanted the bathroom alone instead of using the non-family bathroom while you have your kid there that has to pee? That's a pet peeve.
Is this with your kid or the 8-year-old friend?
No, the kid or the 8-year-old friend, because both of them. No, there's no 8-year-old friend, Kerr. But no, seriously, for me that's a big pet peeve. I had this person in front of me, and my daughter had to piss, and she's 4. It's not like I could be like, hold on, just hang on to it for a little longer. Some non-family person who wants to go into the bathroom solo for whatever reason. Was that a pet peeve of your guys' when you had young kids? It is for me.
In a family bathroom?
Yeah, does that make sense? Where like you have to take your kid to go to the bathroom, and they have either like the handicap and family bathroom are the same, right?
Yeah.
And you have that one person that wants to go to the bathroom alone instead of using the one with the stalls in the community bathroom. And you have to wait for them as a parent with your kid. Like, I gotta pee. And you're like, dude, like, come on. Like,
I don't think I've ever experienced going into a family bathroom and waiting for a single to come out. Usually I would take my kids, if that was the case, it was like I just take them into the bathroom and use the handicap, use a bigger stall. But I don't think I've ever had a situation where I was waiting for the family bathroom and it opened up and some dude comes strolling out by himself.
No, it's the same here. I do
happens all the time.
I do hate it when I'm coming out of like the women's bathroom, because sometimes like there's someone in the men's, and like it's like a smoke in Boynton Beach, like they've only got the 2, and then like I'm waiting, I really got to go, so I kind of look around, like I don't see any women, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go use the women's real quick, and you go in there and you pee really fast as you can, and then you come out and there's a woman at the door. You're like, son of a bitch. You don't make eye contact. You don't say anything. You just walk past her. Like, I'm sorry.
When you walk past them, you're like, listen, everything's working fine in there. I just made sure that the toilet's flushing fine. The bidet's in place if you really want to use the bidet.
That's a good idea. I should carry a wrench with me, so when I'm coming out, they're like, yeah, you're all good to go now.
So good. Major problem in there. You're lucky I got there before you walked in there. Right?
Until you said smoking, Kevin, I had a completely different visual when you started that and that drink about went all over my shit, dude.
Yeah.
When you said, what I hate is walking out of the women's bathroom. Like, what? Yeah. And then you said smoking, and I'm like, oh, it's a single. Okay, here I am thinking you're just walking in women's bathroom.
Oh yeah, no. I've been in men's bathroom where it's been multiple stalls and everything else, and a woman walks in and just like shimmying real fast, and we all know, yeah, just let her go. It's like, yeah, there's a line, because there's always a line at the ladies' room at places.
Unless you're at smoking, then there's always a line for the men's room.
Yeah, there is. So
can't imagine. Oh man.
Well, this has been a very topic-filled show.
It has been
this morning or tonight.
It has been. I mean, it's definitely, we were able to work through some of Kevin's technical difficulties. And we got him here. Fine.
We realize he goes to women's bathrooms.
Yeah.
Women's bathrooms and
Ryan befriends 7-year-olds.
I did. I do. Yeah.
definitely
So
went into a very weird zone there. Talking about his
You went to
his
zone.
range of friends.
You went to a weird zone. I said the oldest friend or the youngest friend is in age of relationship wise is 7 years.
I think you explained that in great detail after you said, I have a range
it
of
needed
friends.
to be described.
I have
in
a
great
range of
detail.
friends from 8 years old, 8 years to 35. And I'm like,
it was bad wording. It was bad
whoa.
wording. It was bad wording.
Okay, buddy. That is quite the range there. Listen, I get our next door neighbor kid always comes over. The two of them, they always come over here. They got that's my morning routine too. Is my morning routine or my neighbor next door neighbors? They come over. I think they're 8, 9, and 4. They come over for their morning high five to Mr. Carey.
That's awesome.
Check out, see how they're doing it, what they got planned for the day, and then they go back over there. Sometimes in the evening they'll come over and give me another high five.
Oh, right.
How long have you known them?
Yeah.
What's that?
How long have you known them?
Since we moved here. How long have we been here, Jen? 3 years? 3 years. 3 years, yeah.
That's
probably
awesome.
Probably over the last year, a good solid year and a half. It's been, they come over here and Jen will put them to work in the yard and she'll pay them. So they'll come out there, they'll help her do some gardening. They'll come out and hang out here in the lounge and shoot the shit and stuff. So yeah.
Are they 7 or 8 as well?
Yeah, 8. 4. Garrett's 4, and Brucey's 8 or 9. Yeah.
I think that's
8,
awesome,
8.
Kerr, because at some point in time in their life, they're going to look back and go, you remember Kerr, our neighbor, who we did this and this and this, and that's like you're leaving your thumbprint on their life in like a great way, and I feel like so much of society has leave me the hell alone. Like back like was it the comedian, the Italian guy, does
Sebastian?
Sebastian does the doorbell bit. We're in the 70s. Oh, the doorbell! Look at you! It's a neighborhood. Now it's like get down the fucking ground. Don't.
I know.
Who the hell's at the door?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the old grumpy guy that the kids, as they're going on the sidewalk, they walk a little faster by my house. But no, I grew up the same. I grew up the same way. There's an old man, Don. He was probably, when I was maybe around 10 or so, Don and his wife Nancy, they were probably in their 70s, and all the neighborhood kids, like, he'd always have yard work, I think that was like my first paying mowing job, was for him, and just one of those cool old guys. He was an engineer, so that's probably why I gravitated towards him a little more. But yeah, just tell stories. Him and my parents were friends, and yeah, it is nice having that old guy, in the neighborhood.
I haven't reached the grumpy old man status, but I can tell you, I most definitely understand the grumpy old man. I've gotten to that point in my life where I'm like, I'm look back on the neighborhood, I'm like, I get it now. I understand that person. I back then it was just like, what the hell's his problem? Why is he so grumpy? Now I'm like, I could probably ballpark it, And I'm like, that's what I'm going to be probably in about 10 years. Be like grumpy old man in the neighborhood.
Now, what I never understood was the grumpy old man or the grumpy old couple that were specifically grumpy because a ball would always land in their backyard.
Yeah,
we had that growing up. My mom got in a shouting contest with our neighbor. He literally picked up the ball and popped it.
Yeah.
While we were playing with it. And my mom was like, wow, you're a tough guy. These kids are like 10 and 12. Look at you. What the hell is your problem? You got a whole bunch of young families around you. Why would you do that? Just throw them the freaking ball back.
There's a difference between being a grumpy old man and a miserable old man.
Yes.
People like that are miserable old men. Yes. Usually, generally speaking, I know from, I can harken back to my childhood. The person who was the miserable motherfucker was freaking they were miserable to their family. They freaking were probably either drunk or hungover the majority of the time, and those were the miserable freaking old people in our neighborhood. It was you don't know when you're going to catch them. They're going to be either drunk or miserable or hungover.
Yeah, I want the Walter Matthau version of the grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Jack Lemon version of the grumpy old man.
Yeah, we're lucky we don't have any of those the grumpy old people in our neighborhood. Everybody, we try to help each other out. We're always doing something for each other. If you were to kick a ball on some, or throw a frisbee on someone's roof, they would go get the ladder and get it down for you and not say anything. And
that's
I remember
that's Southern hospitality.
Yeah, I remember coming out. My one neighbor is a snowbird, and I didn't realize Charlie was back home. So I'm out in the workshop, and I come out, and he's through the fence feeding Stella some treats, and I go, "What the fuck is this, Charlie?" He was like, "Yeah, it's a thing we got." Whenever I'm in the house, Stella comes out and stares at me. So he doesn't even have a dog. He keeps a box of treats in the house, and he goes out and gives her treats, and it's just their thing. So Skylar never gets treats. It's only Stella. So they got like this relationship together, and it's awesome. So
and that's kind of the. Did you guys ever play a game called Jailbreak as a kid?
No.
Where it was like a tag with jail. So you would go and hide at either 4 or 5 different houses in their backyard, wherever hiding spot you could hide. We usually played with around 6 or 7 houses. But even houses that like their kids weren't even playing, they didn't care at all that we were jumping their fence, hiding in their backyard, because they knew us. Like they knew that we weren't going to break anything. But today, I just don't feel like, and it's weird to say this because I feel like I'm getting into the age now where, like, back in my day, but like I feel like you wouldn't have that. I feel like you could go in someone's backyard back in the day, depending on where you lived, of course, and get away with playing a game like that. Nowadays, you can't. Everything's got a camera on it. Everything's got a light on it. I don't know. Is that just me feeling old right now?
Yeah. I think we're all at the age where we're going to be saying, well, back in my day we did this, because it's just you're going to start comparing and contrasting, especially when you get to the age you're seeing kids run around. But my next door neighbor, the people who live directly next to us, he was a miserable old man. He was just miserable. He was either drunk or he was hungover. So it's like when you'd hit the wiffle ball over in their yard, you had to do the old.
Yeah.
Don't get it. Like you had to have a lookout, jump over,
like
get
Sandlot
the ball.
Style.
Yeah. You definitely had to watch out for Conrad, because that old motherfucker, he's a miserable old prick. But no, I think it's generational. I think now it's like you said, cameras. There's someone who's going to be like posting something on Facebook, like, "Look at this freaking kids in my yard again. I can't believe this every time." So there's definitely a heightened sense of awareness because there's a heightened sense of entitlement and stupidity.
Yeah, I remember growing up, and I took my ex-wife Beth back to my old neighborhood. It's probably going back 15, 16 years ago, and I remember, and I'm like, oh, I remember there used to be a great little park, and I go, and man, I couldn't remember how to get there, and I'm like, it was at the end of my street, and I go, let's park the car here because we just got to walk through this backyard, and on the other side of that, go over one street, and there's the park. And so I'm like, whatever. She's like, we can't walk through someone's yard. I'm like, this guy used to let us all as kids. So I go walking through his backyard, and an old man comes out. Hey, like, what are you doing in my yard? And I'm like, listen, I used to live down the street here. As a kid, we used to cut through your yard to go to the park. And he laughed. He goes, man, we haven't had kids in this neighborhood in 10 years, And he's like, go ahead, feel free. That's what, but yeah, we always had kids cutting through our backyard. Nowadays, I think it's almost like litigious, like people's like, you cutting through somebody's yard, hopping. How many fences did we hop? Now I'm like, some kid hops my fence. I'm like, oh God, is he going to get hurt and sue me? Because that's the thing nowadays, you call Morgan and Morgan, the guy on the billboard, and it's just like, did you get hurt going through somebody else's yard? So, that's it.
You live in a young area, don't you, Kev? Like I mean, like young as there's a lot of kids in your area, right?
No, I live in a neighborhood with a lot of, well, my immediate neighborhood of like a dozen houses. I think I'm the only one that works. Everybody's older and a snowbird. You know, you go down a street or two, and it gets a lot younger. You know, so my immediate neighborhood's pretty old.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's
We
yeah,
have
we
a
don't
mix.
see.
Our street's got a mix. We got a lot of kids. We do have a lot of families, kids. A couple teenagers. You know, we do have a couple of older folks in on our street. So it's a decent little mix.
Yeah, we just have the one house directly across the street in the cul-de-sac, and it's a rental house. So it's always, you know, whoever moves in there for the year or two has always got kids. They're always yelling at their kids, and it's just always the one house. I mean, the one fucking house. And so, but yeah, the rest of us, at least we own our houses. Nothing against renters, but yeah, it's just the ones that keep cycling through that house.
I've been at my house for 9 years, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford a house in Colorado at the rate this keeps going, because people are coming here from California going, discount. This feels like I'm shopping at Family Tree, you know, or Family Dollar, you know, coming here. You know, I was in San Francisco. My buddy several years ago was telling me, you know, I'm looking for a house, me and my wife, and we got approved for 1.7. Like, million? Or monthly, like 1,700 monthly. Like, no, 1.7 million. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, yeah, that's like a 1,700, 1,800, 2,000 square foot house in California. I'm like,
yeah.
You come to Colorado, you're 700, 600, 500 grand, depending on where you are, for 1,700 square foot. That's a discount.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine moved from Orange County. He lived in Redding area and went to school in Drexel. Went out to California. He started his own. He invented synthetic bone, and started his own company. And then, you know, worked for another company, and then left California and moved back to Philadelphia. And he bought this house outside of Philly. And I remember going to visit him, and I'm like, dude, this is a fucking compound. And he's like, I know, right? He's like, this is like coming here. This house at $950,000 in California is a 1,200-foot home. Outside of Philadelphia, which is still a really nice area, still considered high end, it's a freaking ridiculous mansion with a freaking in-law freaking. He said, my in-laws, the in-law room, or what do they call it, the mother-in-law room or the mother-in-law apartment. He's like, that has more square footage than his first condo he bought in California. And it's
my house.
A matter of the freaking cost of it. It's amazing.
My house at 1,000 square feet would be around 450.
Man, my house was originally 975 square feet. The one I have now, I bought it for $52,000. I'm 3 houses away from the water. So yeah, 52,000 is what I bought the house for.
Wow.
And actually, no, no, that was my first house, was 52,000. This house, I think I paid 47,000 for. So I've you know, 2 giant additions. I put another 100 grand into additions, and I'm still hundreds of thousands of dollars. Probably maybe 15 to 17 years ago.
Kevin's house is around 6,000 square feet now. Just to
yeah. We've doubled it. We're at 2,000 square feet with the lounge.
Your house is a perfect size, dude. Like, it's a perfect size. 2,000. So I used to think I wanted a 5,000, 6,000. Oh, if I was this. Even if I think I was a millionaire, multimillionaire, I wouldn't want the expense and upkeep on a house that size. I don't think people understand the heat, to cool, especially if you're in Florida, on a 4,000 or 5,000. You're talking hundreds of dollars a month additional on top of, and then anytime you want to do something, it costs significantly more because it's just that much bigger. Like, the cost of ownership on a big house, I understand now why couples downsize when their kids move out. 100%, because easier to maintain, but it's really the cost of ownership. Everybody always says, it just got too much to clean. That's bullshit. That's an excuse you tell people. It became unadvantageous for you to continue to pay for the size of that house. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Jessica's parents, I think they had, their house was like 3,500 square feet. And then they retired. It had a pool. It was right on the water. So they had a boat ramp, and they sold that, and they bought like a manufactured home trailer and a really nice park right down the road. And they have all the amenities outside. They can go to the gym or the pool or the tennis courts or anything like that, and significantly less. They don't have all that heating, the cooling, maintaining a pool, everything else, and they just couldn't do it anymore. They didn't want to do it anymore. It just got to be too much.
Yeah,
we could be a couple years away from being in a house that's too big for us.
Yeah.
Now, how do you determine that, Kerr? Because your kids still come over and would stay and family visit.
That's it.
So once that kind of slows down a little bit and the kids are gone, you'll downsize.
Yeah, once they are officially like, okay, your room's still here for you, but at a certain point, this room is no longer your room.
And I think that's why some people, maybe it's a small percentage of the reason they do downsize. It's like, get out. I don't have room for you now. Like you can't come back.
No, exactly. No, I think you're right. Especially, it depends on the motivation factor. But
I think you're right, Brian.
I think you're right, Brian.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think we got an upstairs. Here, 4 bedrooms. And it's like like I said, I think in about 5 years, we're gonna be like, okay, I got a house with 3 rooms too many upstairs.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to put it. It's like, okay, there's an office. What is there going to be another office? And then I just, no, I think it'll be a little too much. Then probably by that time, you're not going to want to go up and down steps anymore, because you're going to start getting old. Now it's time to start getting a ranch, a one story, home.
I don't know if I could ever live in a 2-story house. Ryan, is your house 1 story or 2 out in Colorado there?
It's here right now. It's 1. I grew up in a 2. I like the 2. I like the 2. But depending on the layout only. Like if all the rooms are up on the 2nd floor, that's where a 2-story makes the most sense. But if you have like the master bedroom on the main floor and all the rest of the rooms on the 2nd floor, like in my house I grew up with, that's kind of how the layout was. My parents' room was the master bedroom on the main floor, and then we were as kids upstairs. But I agree with Kerr. Like at some point in time, like you don't want to do the stairs.
Nope.
Yeah.
It makes better sense.
So would you go to 1,000 square foot house, Kerr, like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom?
No, I think 1,000's too small. I mean, I do. It would, like, again, I think it also depends on the layout of the home. And the design and the room, we've seen a lot of places that has smaller square footage, but it's laid out properly, where
more open space.
At a certain age, you're probably like, okay, if you're an entertaining type of people, okay, a dining room makes sense. But for us, we're like, having a formal dining room, it doesn't make sense anymore. So you can eliminate that room, and I know definitely as we get older, we're definitely going to, continue having a lounge or an area that is our smoking and relaxation area. But it just depends on the layout of the home.
So let me ask you this.
I mean, mine was 970. Like I said, mine 975, and it was too big for 2 people. Like it was. I mean, parts of the house we still didn't use. But so I think that 1,000, for 2 people. More than enough. But I wasn't smoking then either, so I'd have to have a room.
I think my first house in Harrisburg I bought was a 2-story brick home, and it was, I think, about 1,200 square feet. But it was the layout was nice, and I like that house at that size. That'd be ideal for 2 people.
Yeah.
But you had to put the stairs. There was it was actually a 3-bedroom home. But all the bedrooms were like, it was a bedroom. It wasn't a bedroom with a freaking lounge area and a freaking big ridiculous bathroom and shit.
Yeah.
It was what it was. But great side porch, great back porch, nice yard. All those type of those little amenities and stuff. But that would have been a nice little brick home to retire in. But again, you have the steps, and we've got a basement too in Pennsylvania, so you could actually go down in the basement. But we don't have those here.
So that's what I was actually going to ask you guys is, would you rather have a basement or a garage? I know there's not a lot of basements in Florida from my experience. I don't know about the Carolinas.
Carolina basements, more up here in the upstate just because of the sea level. So up here in the upstate, there are houses with basements, but a lot of them are walkout basements with the garage. So the way the house is built,
that's where my buddy's house is.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. It's so there is a basement, but it's more of a walkout basement where, like in Pennsylvania, it's go down to the steps and freaking, go to the House of Pain. That was under the house, but now, and living in that, living and having a basement back in the day and being without a basement for whatever 15 years I've been here, I'd much rather have a garage than a basement.
Yeah, I'd be the same way. Everybody, all my friends that I do know with basements, like there's always issues, unless they're like, I've got like 2 friends that are like wealthy. They have finished basements. They don't have to worry about water intrusion. But my other friends, they always have to have a sump pump in the basement, pumping like water out, and like and they got issues. And it just seems like a basement is a pain in the ass. But I don't know.
They can be, but it's
where it's watery, it can be for sure.
It can be, yeah. And if you have it, if you have all the proper, systems of moving the water away from your house, but even then, depends on how much water you get. Water can still come up, through the floor and into the wall. So, I've had some great experiences and fun in basements and like basements, but I figure now, after living without a basement for so long, I don't miss it. I don't want one. I don't need it. You know what I really do? I do miss a full walk up attic instead of that damn drop down freaking ladder. I do.
What do you mean full walk up attic? Like it's like a third floor
style. The house I grew up in, and the house I bought in Harrisburg. And my house, and it's literally steps that go up into up to a door into, and Jennifer's house she grew up in too. It's a door, steps.
You see that in the old Victorians
up into the attic. I do miss that. I wish I had that.
See, that would definitely be nice.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the house that we grew up in. I mean, there's 2 stairways that led to the attic. I mean, there's when you went up the proper steps, the main steps. When you got up to the second floor, the steps just kept going, and it went up again up to the 3rd floor. And then when my parents' room, there was actually a back set of stairs that went into the attic, and that was like a full-fledged. You could walk around without ducking attic. It was fucking huge. My attic in Harrisburg. You could walk in the majority of the attic standing up, but then there were some other areas you had to scoop down a little bit. But I do like that full, and even Jennifer's house, or where they grew up, you could go up the steps. There's a big area you could walk around. I mean, when I was in college, my room was in the attic. They called me Attic Boy. The door was right outside of my buddy's bedroom. You open up the door, you go up the steps, and there was enough room in there to stand and walk around, but there was enough room in there for a bed, a dresser, and so on.
Was it like this?
Yeah. But it was angled, so you could actually have a good, probably 4-foot strip area where you could walk and stand and not have an issue.
So you didn't sit up too fast from your bed and hit your head?
No.
No. My attic is about 3 feet tall, and with the nails from the shingles. All poking through. So if you have to get up there and do anything like running cable or something, you're shimmying on your belly, basically on top of the insulation to the other side of the house. and every now and then you lean up and you poke a fucking nail in your neck. So
No, yeah.
See, Jennifer said it right. The 70s style split ranch. I love that idea. 3 to 5 stairs. It's not a full level. It's a few, but it's enough of a separation to feel bigger.
I want a with my lotto winnings. I want to step down. I grew up in a house for a few years with a sunken living room. So you had two steps down into the living room, and then you could put couches around like the little brick retaining wall that it had. You know, very 70-ish. You know, I'm like that was super cool.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. But now they pump out houses for speed's sake. Unless you have the money and building a custom home, it doesn't apply to you. But like when you go to like the new neighborhoods here that are popping up everywhere, they all look the same. It's literally cookie cutter, just one after another. And you're like, why? I wouldn't want to live in an area where like literally every house is the same. Like I like the different, you know, you have a few different styles, you know, maybe one going one way, one going the other way, you know, but like when you're just looking out, like part of owning then it just becomes like your buddy comes over, maybe your neighbor, like, oh, you got to use the bathroom. Oh, you already know where it is. Like it's the first time in his house and he already knows your exact layout. Like,
yeah. So my house, so Northport was, or the city where I live, was founded by a company called GDC, General Development Corporation, you know, and this was back in the 50s where people wanted to buy land in Florida. So this company bought, you know, literally thousands of acres. I mean, Northport, I mean, we're the fourth largest city in the state of Florida, but we only have like 60,000 people. So land mass, we're bigger than Orlando, but it's all, you know, basically unincorporated. But so they came in and they were building houses and they were all the same. My house was built in 7 days. 7 days. So on a Monday, they cleared all the brush, all the trees. The following Monday, a family was moving in. That's how fast they were building these neighborhoods. There was a couple crews. All they did was concrete. Then they got that done. Framers. They would go from house to house to house. Drywall guys, window guys. Every house is the same. And like I said, 7 days. That's how long it took to build a home.
Yeah, but all the colors of the houses are different. I'm talking about the neighborhoods where literally like everything is the same. Like you'll go out here in Colorado and like you'll go into a subdevelopment, all the houses are the same color.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, it's just boring, you know. Not only that, but built in the 50s, that's a totally different build style than today's speed building.
Yeah, well, they bought it in the 50s. Yeah,
quality.
Yeah, they built they bought in the 50s. They started really building in the 60s a little bit. In the 70s, it's when it really took off. So that's when the houses started to become the same. You know, the early 70s. My house was built in 82. You know, so but yeah, it's it was fast. All wood frame, no block, no nothing. Everything's a wood frame house.
And the question is it real 2x4 still in the 70s when your house was built?
Or my 82?
Or was that real 2x4 still?
I don't think so. Not in 82. I don't think 82 would have been real 2x4s.
No, okay.
So
for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, a 2x4 is not 2x4. A 2x4 is 1 3/4 by 3 3/4.
Yeah, definitely not 2x4 anymore. You know, if you can find an old house that they're tearing down that used real lumber, real 2x4s, man, those things are worth their weight in gold.
And they look so much beefier and bigger too. With an extra 1/4 inch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
See, this is what makes this show great, right? There's no agenda. We're just talking, having fun conversation. This is what you want in a puff and ponder. We're puffing and we're pondering a lot.
We're puffing and pondering away. You know, so. But yeah, it's Florida. We're starting to see a little bit of a housing crash here in Florida now. Prices are starting to drop drastically, only because the inventory is actually is able to catch up. You know, all across the country. You know, it was always, you know, always a seller's market. There's never enough inventory. I don't know how you guys were in Colorado and in South Carolina, but here in Florida, we did not have the inventory. So houses were going for crazy money, and now they're everything is starting to settle back down.
It
California's
was like that
messing
when
us
we
up.
were. I know when we were looking at houses, it was fucking madhouse. I mean, it was we would go in. I'd never forget. The first one of the houses we looked at, we liked. Walked in, we're like, oh my gosh, smaller home. Now this would be a perfect home for that. Smaller home, pool, 2-car garage, and then an apartment above the garage. So I'm like, this is beautiful. This is perfect. As we're walking out, freaking boom, someone put an offer on it.
Yeah.
It was happening that fast that, as we were looking at homes. I think it kind of it slowed up now some. But yeah, it was when we were looking, it was you would say, hey, I want to look at this house, and she'd be like, okay, we'll go look tomorrow. And then it would be like, hey, by the way, there's an offer on the home now. So you were playing catch up half the time.
Yeah, I've got friends that are real estate agents, and back a number of years ago when everything was all crazy. So if your budget, you had $200,000 for a house, which one is that?
The Independence Day one from this year.
Oh, right on. So yeah, so if your budget was $200,000 for a house, you only looked at houses that were for sale for 150, because you had to go 20, 30,000 over asking. So and that's what you're really it's your rate. Okay, so how much over asking are you willing to go? Well, I want to give them what they want for. That's not how this works.
Well, look at what we went through. We put an offer on the home. I think we put the asking price, right? And they offered it. They accepted it. Signed all the paperwork and everything, and then it was like, hey, they changed their mind. They want more money.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, you signed the paperwork, so you have to honor it. And we actually contacted a lawyer, and the lawyer said, yes, you're right. And essentially what would have happened is we would have paid the lawyer $10,000, $15,000 to make this thing drag out, and we possibly would have gotten a house over a period of several months to a couple of years, depends on how long they wanted to drag it out. Lord knows what they would have done to the house in that period of time. And then what do you win? He goes, look, you can either give me the $10,000 to drag this out, or give them the $10,000 and get your fucking house.
Yeah.
What's your time worth and value at?
And they were a real fucking shitty thing that they did, real shady.
You're right about that, RJ. Now you got to waive the inspections on the house. You got to do this. There are no more concessions. I know on this one, we got it. For as little as I bought it, we got them to drop it by like $3 or $4 because the comps in the neighborhood didn't come through. Like, hey, the house isn't worth what you're asking because of the comps. Can you drop it? And they're like, yeah, we'll drop it. So.
Yeah.
My landlord bought my house probably 15 to 20 years ago, or anywhere in that 15 to 20 years, for 105. This thing sold, if it's sold today, on the ultra low end would probably be around 380 to 390. On the high, could bring in as much as around 450 for a 1,000 square foot house. Not even 1,000.
What screws me? What would screw me if we ever sold were the comps in the neighborhood? Because like I said, all the houses are the same, except for my fucking house. Every house is 975 square foot. Mine is now 2,000. And with all the with a cigar lounge, so the comps is what.
But your house might be the house that actually brings the comps of the neighborhood up at the same time.
It would be if I sold before, obviously before everybody else did. But I'm not going anywhere for a while.
I bet you could probably pull your house in for 30 to 40K over probably your neighbors, specifically because of your additions.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, but it's only worth what someone's willing to pay. So
correct. Correct. You never actually get your money back in a house. You redo your kitchen for $30,000 to tack on an extra $15,000 when you sell it. Not here in Florida. So if you add on $30,000 on your kitchen, you're getting $30,000 more. You remodel your bathroom. You remodel your bathroom for $10,000. You get $10,000 more.
You get
Now,
so your
is that
kitchen,
after living in it for a while, or is that like a redo and sell? That's a different story. But
yeah,
like
you know,
living in
yeah,
it for
yeah,
5 years, you're only going to get about half of what you spent on the recoup.
yeah, you know, yeah. It's going to be like a lot. You know, I would say probably at the 10-year mark. You know, you're probably you're probably going to get everything you put into it. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. We put when I had my house in Pennsylvania, we like you said, this is back when you could do some negotiating, right? It was 109, and I bought the house. I had the guy pay for closing costs, and he did something else with the heating system. The air conditioning system was old, so we got that replaced. And I probably put about $30,000 in it with remodeling the bathroom, the kitchen, and then I ripped out all the carpet, redid all the hardwood floors, and then couple of years later, 5 years later, when we moved, we sold it for I think 180. So we had a $30,000 investment, in the home, and a home that was already 109, and then we sold it for a pretty decent amount more than that.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
natural investments around the houses probably also went up. So you're 109, even if you didn't do anything, you're probably were able to sell it for 140 to 150.
could you guys imagine paying $5,400 a month in mortgage?
No,
No.
at that point,
No.
you have no cars, you have no other debt, and you are taking an Uber to work or working
So
from home.
when I was doing insurance, I went door to door, and I realized there's 3 types of people in their buying habits. There's people that like to be house poor, in the sense of I want the nice house and I don't care what it costs, and I won't have the nice car, take the vacations, I just want the nice house. There's car poor, of I want the newest car. And then there's people that actually hold on to their money and live in a relatively nice fashion without living extravagant. $5,400 a month is a fuck ton of money. That's 60 grand a year it's over 60 grand a year in mortgage. That is you got to be making 200,000-300,000 a year to justify a $60,000 a year mortgage, right? Am I wrong? Like, if I had 5,400, I would be house poor because that's all I could afford.
God, I couldn't even imagine that. Couldn't even imagine that. I remember I said, we refinanced ours a couple times to do the additions. My mortgage is still super low, but when I moved in here, my mortgage was $350 a month. That was my mortgage, and it was so. But and I still don't pay anything for a mortgage. But my daughter, she just bought a house. She bought it at the height of the boom. One of those where she had to buy it sight unseen, because they were going every time she put a house, put an offer in. Yeah, they sold it. They sold it. They sold it. So luckily her friend's an inspector. Her friend's a real estate agent. They were living down in Miami at this time. And, but yeah, even a $400,000 house, it's just absolutely insane.
So you had mentioned sight unseen, and there was a story of a lady in Michigan that bought a house sight unseen that was moving from I think it was New York to Michigan. Are squatters big deals where you guys live?
They don't tolerate that shit in Florida.
I didn't think they would, but what about the Carolinas, Kerr? Like, you always hear of I bought the house and then you had a squatter moved in. I mean, I watch the videos all the time.
No, we don't get a lot of. We don't hear a lot about squatters. They usually live down by the train track.
See, you get that here in Colorado. You get squatters.
Man, no, Florida. We just passed laws a couple months ago to make it even easier to get these people out of your fucking house. You just go in and you drag them out. You get the fuck out of here.
I know in Pennsylvania it's a bitch. My buddy owned properties, and he would always tell me just trying to get people out of the house. It was next to impossible. Terrible.
Yeah, I watch these videos where people are like, "Well, I don't have a place to go," and one guy was like, "Dude, I'll give you $5,000 right now to leave." Like that'll pay for a couple months rent or hotel, but I'll give you $5,000 cash right now if you leave this house. Because knowing that it was going to cost an attorney and everything else and 10, 12, 15 grand, attorneys are the only ones that win when attorneys are involved. Let's just make that clear.
So I thought
and RJ, the only thing he can do is pressure the Fed into lowering interest rates. That's what's keeping fucking housing prices.
We don't want that either. We need the poison. We need 20% interest rates for like 2 years to really fix the economy. The government needs to start shredding money. And that's the way they shred money is the interest rates. They claw the money back in and they destroy it. That's really what we need.
I think I'm pretty okay if these tariffs can get rid of income tax. That'd be great.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Kerr, are you familiar with Bucks County?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know with the cigars. I know especially with Brazil now. Luckily, I don't think we have too many cigars coming directly from Brazil. We use Brazilian tobacco, but man,
that might be tariffed in some weird fucking way too.
Yeah, well, but if you don't have income tax, then you can afford more expensive cigars, Kev.
Yeah.
Well, Kev, let me ask you this. You would know this question. If we have a tariff, we'll just use Brazil, Arapiraca, and you buy Arapiraca. I can't pronounce it.
Arapiraca.
And you buy it, and you roll your cigar in Nicaragua or Honduras or Dominican, where maybe the tariffs aren't as high. Do you still pay a tariff on that wrapper, being that the wrapper was from Brazil? Am I asking the question right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. You don't pay that. It's just like you can still get cigars here that use Cuban tobacco, but as long as they're rolled in the Dominican Republic or Nicaragua, they're completely fine to bring into the country. Even though you can't bring Cubans in.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be hit on that tariff.
The tariff would be imposed on the country it's being shipped from.
Okay.
So
that's what I thought.
It is the trade agreement or the tariff on a trade between two countries.
Now the only difference is where the product is made, because I know China, they were getting away with some of the tariffs on certain things by shipping to Taiwan. Was it no, not Taiwan.
No, you're right. Taiwan.
Is it Taiwan? Shipping to Taiwan first, and then that being the place where you're importing from. You're not importing from China. You're importing from Taiwan. So they've kind of put it. Yeah, he undid that. And it's same with, I think they were shipping to Vietnam as well, and trying to get out of the tariffs but they closed that loophole.
That's actually what made me ask about the Brazil stuff or like a wrapper from other countries, because
they're still producing. Yeah, because they're still producing the product. Like China could send a bunch of raw materials to Vietnam, have it assembled, and then that product is subject to the tariffs of wherever it's being assembled. Yeah, Vietnam. So yeah.
So RJ says that Bucks County is the hot spot near Philadelphia and a fucking mess. Why is it a mess? That, by the way, Bucks County is where Ned's Cigars, where Newtown is. It's in that county.
Oh, is that where Ned's is? Okay.
Yeah, it's in Bucks County. So I'm kind of curious. It's been a minute, RJ, since I've been up in that area, outside of Philly. I know the last time I was in Philly proper, it was a hot mess. Philadelphia was always known as being Philadelphia, as the ongoing joke. But I spent a lot of time in Philly when I was in college, and I spent a lot of time in Philly after school. And then we went back, God almighty, it was probably about a good 7-8 years ago when I was working up in that market. And it was just horrible, dirty, horrible. The homelessness was ridiculous. In the past, you'd have a couple of folks here and there and, ask you for some money. Here it was just like multiple people per block and aggressively asking for money and yelling and screaming at you. It was definitely I still think it's a byproduct of some policy from years prior to that, but I won't.
Yeah.
But
I've got two friends looking to build cigar lounges in Philadelphia. and they're about ready to give up because they can't. You know, they're so restrictive on putting a cigar lounge in. It's just getting to be too much.
Yeah, it's a shame too, because I know I think New Jersey just jacked their taxes up for tobacco products.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and because Jennifer and I were talking about it, and you know, Pennsylvania, you know, you always, you know, they don't have tobacco tax. So you know, and you don't need a tobacco license as long as you have a retail license. You could sell tobacco.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
So and then you have your sales tax, which is your typical, you know, 6%. But if you're outside of a city, it's usually 7 or 8%, like around Philly and stuff. But yeah, they've been really heavily regulating that area. I think they were years ago. That's when they banned menthol cigarettes too, out of in the Philadelphia area.
well, let me ask you this, Kerr. Inside the cigar world, when did cigar tax is it the cigarette tobacco world that destroyed the vision of tobacco in this country to where
Yeah.
like
Yes.
that's it
Yep.
like it's literally cigarettes' fault is the
Yep.
reason why tobacco is looked at as the way it is.
100%. It's
When did that start to get crazy?
the Family
Was it the
Smoking Prevention
90s?
Tobacco Act. It was during that whole. If you remember, they did a movie with Russell Crowe
Yep.
with a whistleblower, right?
Yep.
So they actually showed that they were targeting, you know, minors, and also that they were adding chemicals to
They made it more addictive.
to make
Yeah.
it more addictive. And then they had the Tobacco Control Act, basically what it's called, or the Marlboro Man Act under an Obama administration, where that was authorized the FDA to regulate, you know, tobacco products, and it was very heavily focused on the cigarettes, you know, and now it's allowed them to expand out into all tobacco products, including vape. So that's where it really got 100% bad, as you said. I mean, that's where the regulation started to expand out and hit all tobacco products. You know,
I
if you
also
remember, that was back. You
Yeah.
know, that was back when, you know, you know, the FDA. You know, they were looking at, you know, wanting to wrap cigarette packs in, like, you know, you should have seen some of the artwork back then on what they wanted
Yeah.
it to be. It was regular. It was, you know, pregnant women smoking and freaking pictures of tumors, and it was pretty, you know, pretty crazy.
That's what
and
Canada puts on their stuff.
and you know, the lawyers came in and said, no, you can't do that, you know, and the, you know, the cigarette companies have won, but they did a big settlement too, and paid every state got money, and Pennsylvania pissed away that money as well. But that act completely gave the FDA full control over tobacco regulation, and that's where we find ourselves in the situation we're in.
And
It-
I might be wrong about this, but I think one of the like legs that they stood on in that case was that none of the executives at Philip Morris smoked.
What's
They
that?
didn't. None of the executives actually smoked cigarettes. They didn't use their own product, and I thought I remembered somewhere that was kind of like a smoking gun, as to like, oh well, you don't even smoke cigarettes. You don't even smoke your own cigarettes because they're that dangerous type deal. I might be misremembering how that happened, but I'm almost positive none of the upper echelon in Philip Morris actually smoked cigarettes at the time of that lawsuit, and that was brought up in the case, I think.
I mean, I can see that happening. I don't recall that being the case, but I mean, I know that they got hammered pretty good. You know, they got caught with their pants down with their marketing and also their additives. I mean, even to this day, it's not like they really had this major cutback on the additives in the cigarettes. I mean, the
No,
amount of
they
chemicals
haven't.
that are being entered in the
It's
cigarettes,
worse.
it's terrible.
It's worse.
You know?
You know, and we're gonna see with it. It's only gonna be another couple of years, I think. Within 5 years, I think we're gonna go to the model of the European model, because Philip Morris does not sell cigarettes in Europe anymore. They sell the
Really?
cartridges. They sell the cartridges for the IQOS device. So it looks like a cigarette, It's still tobacco rolled. From what I've seen, it's like a cigarette with no filter, and it goes into a little
Battery.
It looks like a vape. So instead of catching the tobacco on fire, it's actually it's heating the tobacco, not burning the tobacco.
Oh, smokeless tobacco.
Yeah, well,
They had that. They have had that for a while, where you actually look at the cigarette and it doesn't look like the outside's been burned, but the inside's been burned.
Yeah, so they're heating it and not burning it, like charring it. So it's keeping the temperature of the smoke way down, because they're saying it's the temperature of the smoke that's doing a lot of damage. And then all these chemicals they're putting in there. When you light these chemicals on fire, these 100 chemicals, it's creating 200 new chemicals when you're burning it at 800 degrees. If I'm remembering the article right. So I believe Philip Morris was the first to stop selling traditional cigarettes in the EU, and they've gone to this device. So it looks just like a cigarette, but you got to put it in this little cartridge, like a vaping cartridge, and then you smoke traditionally. So they say that, I think Canada's going to mandate that well before we are. I got a buddy of mine that's in an executive in the cigarette industry in Canada, and he always tells me what's going on. And he says Canada is usually 3 to 5 years ahead of the U.S. Everything Canada does, the U.S. eventually does a couple of years later. So
now, Mike,
yeah.
you asked a question around why Cigar Bid charges sales tax if they're in Pennsylvania. The Supreme Court had a big case, I think it was a couple years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, that actually allowed states to charge outside, or to charge a sales tax online from another state. So there are companies that you could order from that are too small for the government to care about. I'm not going to name any specific ones to give any throwaway, but Kevin raised his hand, so that was on him. But there are companies out there that are just too small to care about. Cigar Bid's owned by Cigar Page. That's also a massive company, so they would be under the radar. So according to the Supreme Court case, even the state of Colorado, when I went to go order some of Aristi's stuff off Cigar Bid, the state of Colorado was going to charge me around a $30 to $40 tax off of what I was going to order.
Or they collect the taxes.
They collect the tax.
Collect the taxes from the state being purchased. So,
but the other side of it is if I order from Kevin, okay, and Colorado finds out, they could actually give me a tax slip that I'm responsible for the taxes.
Yeah. So that started off Etsy was the big one.
Is that why
really
that started?
Yeah, because there are Etsy sellers
that makes
and
sense.
Amazon sellers, eBay sellers that were collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of revenue from people in certain states and not collecting any sales tax at all. Because there used to be a limit. And I don't know if certain states still have the limit of, like, you could sell $10,000 a year to people in our state and you did not have to collect any. And I don't know what that number was. I'm just going to say $10,000 and not have to, you don't owe us any sales tax. You were below the threshold, and then, and then so they started pushing a lot of these companies, to start, hey, you got to start collecting sales tax, in our state.
That's where I got away with it with the bacon when I was selling the bacon. No, I think only 2 states in the country have sales tax on food.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't sell into those 2 states. Every other state, bacon was classified as a grocery. Since it's classified as a grocery, even if you bought it out of state, there's no taxes, no sales tax. That was how I got away with that. But I forgot the 2 states. They were the New England states that I wouldn't sell into because I would have to collect tax and then pay for that tax.
Yeah. So I don't collect sales. I collect sales tax for the state of Florida.
Correct.
So if you buy something, so I collect sales tax and every quarter, I fill out my paperwork for the state and I send them the check that I owe them, but Etsy, Amazon, eBay, they all collect now. They all collect the sales tax for me. So I don't have to fill out any paperwork. I don't have to do anything. They take care of that, and it's easy for me.
And I just looked this up in South Carolina. They call it the economic nexus, and the nexus is established for each state. So for South Carolina, the threshold is $100,000 in gross revenue, and that is when the business reaches a certain level of their economic activity in the state, which means
That makes
they have to
sense.
start collecting.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. A cottage business in the state of Colorado that you don't have to pay corporate taxes on or business taxes on is under $10,000. You make
Okay.
under $10,000 a year, there's no taxes collected.
Florida's $100,000 too.
Florida's
So,
$100,000.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's your economic nexus, Kevin. So keep it under $100,000, you're good.
Yes,
All
I
right.
did, Mike. I did stop selling bacon. I've got some personal stuff going on, but I plan on opening it up
Yep.
at some point in time because it's sold out. Like, I mean, Kevin had it. Kevin and Kerr both bought it. They loved
Yeah.
it. So.
Colorado, the economic nexus is $100,000 as well, but for food products, it is £2. So once you sell any over £2, you have to collect the state tax.
See, when
Specifically bacon.
well, I was saying when I looked it up, that wasn't the case.
I know.
But we don't. I mean, the bacon thing is coming back at some point in time in my life. We would sell 300 pounds in a period of 2-3 weeks, so it would go out like crazy. And Kevin and Kerr bought a couple supplies of it, but eventually I hope to have that come back. But right now, for personal reasons, it's gone.
Yeah, and one thing that irritates me is some of these, because I'm in some different forums for people that sell online, Etsy, eBay, whatever, Amazon arbitrage. People all, they bitch about taxes. I don't understand why I got to pay this. Because you're a goddamn business. And that's what we all do. We all pay our fucking taxes. You know what? It sucks. I have a corporation. I sell legitimate products, and yeah, that's what I got to do. I got to pay my taxes. Yep. Just like your boss at your job has to pay his taxes. And nothing irritates me more than people that, especially when the thing came out, what was it, 2 years ago? The Venmo, if you made more than like $600 on Venmo and Cash App and whatever, they were going to tax you. People were all up in arms. I don't understand why I got to pay this. You're making money.
It's income.
You're making money.
On the reverse of that, though, taxation is theft.
It's how we build things. So
it is when it's not wasted money. That's the problem. Taxation is wasted money by government.
It's a slippery slope, taxation, because as soon as they start getting a taste of that money, it's like a dog fight. They get that taste of blood, forget about it. They get the taste of money. It's kind of hard. It's hard to unring that bell.
It never goes away.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The one thing that never shrinks. What was it? The first, what the first 3 jobs of any alphabet government agency is? To keep itself in business, to keep itself in business, and to keep itself in business.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th, 5th, or 6th through 10th or 20th is to actually do the job they were set up for. But once an ABC is created or a law is set or a tax is set, it is you might as well build the pyramids of Giza before that gets taken away.
Yeah, I remember one of the agencies that Doge closed down. Whether you believe what they did was good, that's a whole nother story. But it was one where it was an agency designed, and it was something, I'm trying to remember what it was, and it was something with your car. If you were trying to set up like your phone on your car or something like that, you could call this free government agency, and they would walk you through these steps to help you set up your Android car, whatever it was. And they had like a $2 or $3 million a year budget, and then in like fiscal year 2023, it was something they had 6 phone calls.
Yeah, like go on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's like they're like, what is this multi-million-dollar budget? What do you picked up the phone 6 times?
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, let's go to YouTube, figure it out. I'm sorry for those 6 people that needed your help. They're gonna figure it out, So, but yeah, like you said, it's it's wasteful spending.
It all is. There's always a justification that's required to keep the existence of a ABC or XYZ government agency alive.
Well,
I mean,
that's it. You know, a buddy of mine worked at the city of Northport here, where they repair all the garbage trucks and everything else. And then this is probably going back 5 or 6 years now. He said, like, at the end of the year, they were scrambling to spend the rest of their money. They had to buy stupid shit. And I'm like, well, why'd you have to spend it? Well, because they would decrease our budget next year.
Yep. Got to make sure you get your budget.
Yeah, so you got to make sure, because what if we went over next year? Like something really broke, and we didn't have the money. So now we have to spend our tax dollars. They just had to piss it away on stupid shit just so they could get the same amount next year. And I'm like, that makes sense.
That's a lot of places. I worked for a pharmaceutical company. It was like that. I was like, here's your budget for the year, and it's like, okay, it's November. You still have $10,000. You have to spend it by the end of the year. We're not going to hit our budget for next year.
Yep. See, and a government at a private level, I understand that, because that's justification. You asked for the money in your yearly budget process. That money should be allocated throughout the year, whether it's through hiring or purchasing or software or whatever. When it comes to government, I think you should be commended if you're Ron Swanson and just cut everything. And your budget shouldn't shrink. You should be able to carry that over, and they give you less money the next year, but you still have the full budget. So if you saved $100,000 and you carried it over, then your budget the next year is $100,000 less. But guess what? You still have the same amount of budget. You carried over 100. You shouldn't have to do the whole FSA, which is the issue with flexible spending accounts. You use it or you lose it, because then you make stupid, unnecessary purchases just so you don't lose it. That's where an HSA model, a health savings account, is better. And that's the way government should run, is they should just carry that budget over with your additional leftover income. And then they shrink their budget the next year. And guess what? If you need it the following year, another $100,000, you can ask for it.
That would be called
you shouldn't be penalized for not spending it. I know, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, I remember probably going back 10 or 15 years ago. Ford Motor Company, they're trying to save money, cut costs. So they reached out to all their suppliers to try and figure out how to save money on parts, whether we can consolidate parts. And they made a good deal. If you could save us whatever money you would save us, we would pay you that for the next 5 years, because we know that you're going to take a loss in selling us this product. You save us money, we're going to give you that money for the next 5 years, so you have time to invest in something else. And that's why a lot of this shit should be. I remember I wrote into Ford. I sent them, well, it wasn't even an email. I sent them a letter, and as a mechanic, I'm like, your drain plugs. Why do you have 9 different oil drain plugs? It's just threads in a pan. Make one.
Yeah,
make one drain plug.
Specialty.
Order 1 million of them versus ordering, a 500,000 or whatever of 9 different plugs.
So I'll tell you why that is, Kev. And correct me if you think my thinking is wrong on that. Based on what you just said, they determined, based on the auto center, since the back end of a dealership is really what makes the money, I guarantee you flow rate around oil change and draining played into that size of plug and the different. So the Ford F-150 is a bigger plug. The 350 might be a bigger plug. And I promise you, some of that came into how long does that oil change going to take? Is it going to add an extra couple minutes if we use a smaller plug? Does that make sense? Maybe
it would make sense, except the holes are all the same. They just use different thread. They use different thread pitches in different size heads, and versus which one takes a gasket or which one has an inset head gasket, a rubber, or which one has a molded gasket around the drain plug. So the size of the hole is the exact same across every model. It's just the style of fucking drain plug and lug nut. And
I figured a bigger oil pan would have had a bigger hole.
Yeah, no, same size hole.
Stupid.
Yeah,
it's a way for them to charge more money.
I don't know. It's just all dumb. But yeah, it's Nobody wants to save anybody money. They just want to try and figure out how to. Probably some engineer like, hey, my buddy has this factory and he makes drain plugs. Let's change the drain plug. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
if that's the case.
you know what's gone through the roof is book rate.
Is what?
Mechanics book rate. Book rate's gone through the roof. So when you're instead of maybe I'm not using the right terminology. If something takes a half hour, what used to be $75 an hour, now it's $150 an hour. They charge you the full hour. They charge you the full book rate. But the cost per hour on a mechanic has gone through the roof in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's because they're paying technicians more because we're having to buy more tools. So we need to pay
because you have 10 different drain plugs for the same fucking vehicle.
Yeah, I know. And it's really the equipment that the shops have to buy, which all new equipment needs to be serviced more often. Computers are costing more money. There's more. It used to be you used to buy a computer, you'd update it once a year. If I bought a $3,000 scanner, once a year, I'd pay $500. I'd get the update for the new model year. Now I buy a $5,000 scanner and it costs me $300 a month. To maintain that.
And then you've got the specialty only where you've got to go to the dealership for them to specifically fix that, or is that over?
No, it's really not.
What am I looking for? What's that called?
So that's called the Right to Repair Act.
Right to Repair Act. That's it.
There's a very few things you actually have to go back to the dealership for. There are certain shops, like in our area, very few shops that can do everything. It's not worth it for us to have a $20,000 piece of equipment to only use it a couple times a year. So we just tell people just go back to the dealership, just go back to the dealer. So that's where the when I got into this business, it used to be $75 an hour is what you would pay. Now I think we're at $175 an hour. But we still charge by the 10th of an hour. So certain jobs may only take 3/10, 4/10. There's no such thing really as a minimum 1 hour charge. Everything is by the 10th.
Yeah, one of my brother's highest paid techs in the area because he works, his shops and his dealerships are for BMW is Wisconsin, Nebraska, Minnesota, was it Iowa, Illinois. I think he told me one time his highest paid mechanic is like $250 to $300 a year.
Yeah, it's I mean, the average technician I know makes $100,000 a year.
This wasn't average. This was like the highest paid in his area.
Oh yeah, I know. Like I said, so I mean, on average, an A-level tech should be able to make between 100 and 130,000 a year.
It's gone up that much.
Yeah, so
good.
I know of two technicians in our company that are making about $225 a year. As mechanics.
Good for them.
So,
you're busting. You're taking a lot of overtime work and extra work on that.
No, you're not working that hard.
Really?
For that.
See, Jason's my brother's guy was telling me his kids are out of the house. He takes all the extra work he can get. Like he paid for his kids' school in like 6 months by taking extra work.
Yeah, my buddies that make that over $200,000, they're probably not working more than 55 hours a week.
Wow. See, what most people don't understand is the mechanic is a business in itself. So every mechanic at a dealership, at least, I can only speak for dealerships because that's my experience, is its own owner. Like every mechanic owns its own business. So if they take extra hours and stuff like that. It might be different at where you work, Kev, but I know at the dealerships, all of these guys are essentially independent.
Yeah, we don't. I couldn't go to a dealership, make that little amount of money. Those guys don't make shit for the most part at a dealership. So,
yeah, I wouldn't know. This has been a fun show, guys. This has been a fun episode.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I think on that note, we're at 2 hours 20 minutes. We should probably call it an end.
I can hang out with you guys all night. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. We definitely want to thank everybody for coming on. The Puff and Ponder podcast. We should be back to our regular Monday night show, next Monday. So And then we've got an I Tapped That Cigar Show Saturday, the 23rd, with Steve Saka of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, the big reveal for the GFY sampler.
So we got our show on the 11th, on Monday the 11th, but then we also are going to have another live one with a special one over the weekend, the 15th.
Yeah, if we can work that out, so that'll be good because I'm going up to see Kerr. Maybe we'll do a show up there.
Real quick, Kev, before you go, RJ asked what your eBay store name was.
Cigar Prop everywhere, but please buy from cigarprop.com. Do not go to my eBay, Etsy, or Amazon store. You know, it's they charge. I try and keep my pricing the same across every platform, but they all charge 30%. You know, is what they take as a cut.
There you go, RJ. All you gotta do is go to Cigar Prop for
cigarprop.com.
That's it. So you can get all the cigar accessories. But you can find Kerr Viajante, Stogie Road Cigars, Cigar Prop, all the social medias and the links below. Ryan, Rocky Mountain Cigar Show, all the social media links down there in the video description, the podcast description, if you're listening to this. And thank you, everybody, for coming on. Kerr, final words of wisdom for tonight?
I will pass that along to Ryan for a special co-host.
Smoke what you want. Smoke as much as you like. Have a great rest of your week.
Use toilet paper.
All right.
Use toilet paper.
Use your bidet. Use your bidet.
Use your bidet, and taxation is theft.
Taxation is always theft. It's always theft.
All right, everybody. We'll see you.
Bye, everyone.
All right.